I just got done completing my taxes with a tax professional, and it has me rethinking if selling Pokemon cards, Magic cards, any trading card is even worth it. Before we get started, I'd like to thank all my subscribers that have stuck around since the beginning. I've been doing this for about, I want to say, a year and a half, maybe, with 3 months where I kind of, slipped away and stopped selling cards. But I did pick it up, and I'm continuing to do it, possibly because what I heard from the tax person did not, sound great for me going into this year. Well, I need to explain how I manage and do my card business because it's a little different. Everyone has something they do differently. My tactic is I buy sealed products, I rip it open, and I sell the singles. I don't buy collections. I don't sell anything sealed. Even if it's worth more, I'm still going to open it. And that is every single card. I sell all the bulk. I started selling the code cards, everything, even the energy or the mana from Magic, all that gets sold. Which brings up something interesting, which is inventory on taxes, which we will get to a little later. For all I don't know, I started this business with $0. It's not that I didn't have any money to put into it. I decided to go the credit card route. I opened 2 credit cards. They're both Capital One, and it worked out really well. One card was for inventory, so just cards, and the other one was for operational expenses, which are things like, your shipping shields and stamps, envelopes, things like that, printers, printer ink. So it was easy to separate them. Now, when tax time came, I noticed that I made some mistakes and I used my debit card when I shouldn't have, or I used the inventory card for stamps and other things I paid for in cash. Some I Zelled, so many different ways. So it was a little hassle bringing it all together. So if you're starting and you want to do it right, be sure to keep track of everything. Keep the money separate from your personal account. Also, I'm not doing it as an LLC because I didn't open an LLC strictly because I didn't know if I would continue to do this, and it would have been a waste of money if I decided 6 months later that I didn't want to. I also don't think I make enough money for an LLC. I have another video that shows how much I sold. So how much, money went into my account from this business, which was $16,000. And I was so happy on that video. I was like, you know what? I got $16,000 and it was sitting in my account. Roughly you have to minus the inventory, but that cash was in my account. And I was like, you know what? I made this much money and taxes will come out later. And I was like, $20 in taxes, $100 in taxes, even if it's $1,000 in taxes. And boy, was I wrong on how much they take out of your earnings. It is crazy. I didn't even attempt to do it myself. I went straight to a tax professional because I wanted to ask all the questions and really do it properly. Because the worst thing is your business is doing great, so you think, and then 2-3 years later down the road, IRS comes for you and they say, hey, you should have paid taxes. So you owe us $20, $30, $40,000. But you already spent that money and now you don't have it. You don't want to put yourself in that position. It's less likely when you're selling $16,000 because, it's a lot of money, but it's not the end of the world money. In taxes, while other people that sell millions of dollars worth of cards, they owe way much more than I do. But as I go through the video, this is fresh. This is all in my mind. So I don't script things and I'm going to be all over the place, but hopefully you can get some sort of idea on taxes and what you can expect if you start a business. This isn't about tax jargon or anything like that. There's plenty of YouTubers that are tax professionals that their advice applies to this. Selling Pokemon cards isn't different than selling, any other thing. You're still a retail business. You buy cards, you sell cards. Someone buys, I don't know, they buy their vending machines. They buy Monsters and Pepsi and all that and put in the machine. It's the same concept. I know what you're thinking right now, and I thought this too. And this is my biggest holdup on the entire thing, which was, okay, so I have 2 cards. Actually, no, I lied. We're grabbing 3 cards. Here we go. Nice, clean background for us. So we have 3 cards. You know, let's say you pulled these out of a pack, you're selling them, and I kept telling my tax person, well, this isn't worth anything really. So is it really inventory? Like, who cares? This is trash. And I was like, well, no one really wants this card either. It's just bulk. I might sell it. I might not sell it. Some of these are selling for like a penny. Might not want that one. This one, this is the only one worth it that I have out of these 3. And this was a bad example because it's not worth that much. But let's say this was I need a real example. Just a second. There we go. So you pull this out of a pack, right? So what do you put on your taxes? This came out of a $5 booster pack. But this thing's worth like $100. And you have to factor this in. And that's where everyone, I think, that sells bulk, that's their hang up. They're like, well, it's worth $120, so how do I get taxed on this? And this junk card that's worth a penny, it's not real inventory. Like, what do I do with this? And as I was not arguing with the tax person, but as I was going back and forth with her, I realized what I was trying to do. I wasn't actually concerned about the price of the cards. I was basically trying to figure out, how do I scam the tax man? Because the way I was trying to justify it was, if I open a pack and I don't get anything, like, should I really be taxed higher on that? Like, is it real? Is it even inventory? Like, they're just going to sit in the corner. I'm going to throw it away, whatever. And then I'm like, but then I got this, this nice $100 card here, and it's worth, let's say, $120. I haven't looked at it a while. And it's $120. So I'm going to say on taxes that, I paid $120 for this. No, you paid $5 for this. It just happened to be that a card worth $120 was in it. So what they had me do was, there's multiple ways to calculate this, by the way, because I asked a couple different tax people, and most of them said you just take what you paid for the box. So another example. Let's say I bought this box for $100. There's why am I drawing a blank right here? There's 36 packs. So you have 36 packs. So you just divide that 100 by 36. So you have your pack count, and then you divide it by the amount of cards you have in the pack, which let's say it's 20 cents. Sure, we'll go with 20 cents. So each card that you have, you paid 20 cents in inventory. And that's what you're going to put down on your taxes as far as how much you paid. When you go and sell this was the unfortunate part. Because it's not, you didn't pay $120 for this, even though it's worth that much to you. This still counts as 20 cents on your taxes. Now, there's other ways you can get around it and scam it and do all that stuff, I'm sure. But according to the tax people, that is how they recommended I do it. And at first I was a little angry, but then I was like, you know what? When we look at the amount of bulk that just sits here, it evens out. If you put 20 cents per card, let me grab something for you real quick. Oh my God, it's falling. Okay, this was a bad idea. But these are all common cards from one set that I just have in a box that I'll probably never sell. But because I bought them and they came in a booster box, they are on my taxes. That was a mistake. Okay, I'll clean that up later. There were lighter boxes. I don't know why I just didn't pick those up. I wanted to really emphasize that I had a lot of cards. But Should have grabbed the uncommon box. There's less of them. So I want to talk about writing off or deducting on your taxes. Again, don't get caught up in these words. Just think, if I ever say deducting, writing off, things like that, or you can put on your taxes, just think the more stuff you put on there, the less money that you will pay in taxes. So very simplified, but just for the purposes of this video, that's what I'm talking about. So back to inventory. What they're going to want to know is what inventory you started out at in the year, because inventory that you didn't sell, you can't write that off on taxes because you didn't sell them yet. You can do it on the next year when you sell it. So you need to find out how much inventory you have. So you have to calculate that the best way you can. And again, the way I suggest is, if you do my method, it's great because you open up all the cards. You're not sifting through collections. But even if you did, let's say you bought a collection for $50 and there's 1,000 cards. Just divide it evenly between all the cards and you're fine. It will work. So it's not about what you think they're worth when you bought them. It's about what you actually paid for when you bought them. The real number is how much money you made off of selling it. That is really what you're getting taxed on, because that is your income. And the more that you have left over at the end of the year, the less stuff you can put on your taxes for deduction. So I asked, well, what do I do with this? I'm going to have so much bulk at the end of the year, and I should be able to write it off, but I can't. And her suggestion, again, her being the tax professional, was, well, if you are not going to sell them and you paid for them, like, you have to do something. So she suggested at the end of the year, I take the bulk that I know is not going to sell and I donate it to charity. That way I can write it off and put it on my taxes. And then we're good. Again, more stuff you put on taxes for deductions, the lower and lower the amount is that you're going to owe at the end of the year. So that's inventory. Yes, I know wheels are spinning in your head. How do I scam the system? How about I open the pack, pull all the rare cards, and then sell them to myself at market value, and then sell it to someone else. So on paper, it looks like I, paid $30 and I can write $30 off on that card as opposed to it being 20 cents. I'm sure everyone's thinking about it. I'm sure people do it. It's not the right thing to do. Yeah, don't get audited. Should I have said I'm not a tax professional or financial thing? But I feel pressured to say it right now. Kind of like if I don't say it, maybe I'll get in trouble. I'm not a tax professional, but you know that. I sell cards and I work with computers in my day job. Again, this is not to tell you how to do your taxes. These are just things to think about before you start a business or during your business, that you can take these same questions to your tax professional and then do your taxes properly. Other things that you can write off are your home office. Like, this is one of the biggest things. As soon as we factored that in, I owed $900 less on taxes just because I'm using this room fully as a business storage area, YouTube place. I also have a closet in another area in my house that I'm using. So $900 was the amount that I got deducted from what I owe in taxes. And that's really great. Other things are, if you're going around driving places, if you keep good mileage records, you could deduct mileage on your car, as far as, you go to Target, you go to Best Buy. Even when you're hunting for cards and you don't find them, you're still doing it for the business. That can be deducted. Let's talk supplies. So operational expenses, like I said, it's anything that you use for the business that you need, that's not inventory and product. Shipping shields count. Stamps count. Envelopes count. Penny sleeves count. The little ink return stamp counts. Tape dispenser, tape, all these things. Printer ink, label maker, scale to weigh it. What else? There's so many things. If you're doing a YouTube channel, the camera that I'm filming on right now, deduct that. The arm that it's on, deduct it. Your computer, deduct it. Any sort of program you paid. Marketing, deduct it. Microphone, deduct it. This random phone that I'm using later for a third angle, deduct it. the desk that we're on, deduct it. There's so many things. Uh, and you might think, oh, okay, that's great. And it is great. You can deduct all these things. But really, no, just because you're deducting it doesn't mean it's free money. It's not, it's not great for every year to buy cameras and desks and all this stuff. So next year, I will have less deductions, but next year, I won't have to buy a desk, a computer, the microphone. I'll have all this stuff. So in the end, while yes, I'll have less stuff to deduct on taxes, meaning I will pay more in taxes, it also means that I don't have these expenses that I need to buy, equipment for. In the end, I will come out with more money. So I know everyone's wondering, how much did I actually walk away with in my pocket, that I did not spend for equipment and really was just money that I could go get lunch with or pay my bills with. And again, I'm rounding, but it was basically $2,000. So I sold $16,000 worth of cards. I was left over with $2,000 worth of inventory that I didn't sell, all the stuff behind me. And then I have $2,000 of money just for myself. And that had me thinking, it was a lot of work. It was a lot of work coming home from my regular 9 to 5, sitting here and packing up cards, dealing with returns, buying stamps, finding this product. It's not easy to find things. It really isn't. It may look easy. Let's flash back to this. It looks like, oh yeah, prismatic evolutions, easy. I found it. I didn't even find those. You know how I got these two? My cousin in California happened to be at a Big Five because I think his wife sent him there for something. And he was like, hey, I found these. Do you want any? And I'm like, oh, pick as many up as you can. And so he kept one for himself and he sent me these two. And I haven't found a single one since. I'm thinking a giveaway for one and another one I want to trade for cards for my personal collection. But let me know what you think. If you want a giveaway, I can start a giveaway that lasts the end of March, and then I can just ship one of these out to just some lucky person that, no cost at all, you're not paying anything. So just leave a comment. Let me know if you'd like a giveaway, and I can run one for the rest of March. Just leave a comment. Let me know. Also, any sort of tax tips that you might have for anyone and any questions about taxes. I know I'm kind of rambling right now, but that's just because it's the nature of the things. I just got done, today with the tax person. And I'm like, I need to talk about this. And then in my brain, I had a million thoughts and I probably forgot kind of a lot of stuff. But the main takeaway is you don't make a lot of money selling bulk on TCGplayer or eBay. It's a volume game. I thought $16,000 was just high volume. But when I walked away with $2,000 of profit, it really seems like I need hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sales to really, to really start making money. Because I'm trying to think, if I spent this much effort for $2,000, if I put 8 hours into this every day and I started selling, like, how much money would I really be making an hour? And I think at this point, what I'm struggling with is my time is more valuable in my regular 9 to 5 job. And if I wanted financial freedom or more money for investments or things like that, it makes more sense for me to advance my career, get certifications, really go in and do instead of coming home and packing up cards, maybe stay at the job an extra couple hours and climb that corporate ladder and do all it. The time is better spent there than this. I could just keep this a hobby and not make the videos, not sell on TCGplayer, but I don't know. I do enjoy it, but I might not enjoy the selling part as much. Because coming and sorting, packing cards, and doing all that stuff is not fun. I don't care who you are. The fun part's opening up the cards. Everything else is just work. I know you can like watch a YouTube video, zone out, listen to some music, and get through it. But honestly, I'd rather have that time back to play the game because I lost the joy of playing the game when I started selling the cards. And here I am spending a lot of my time on this business to make $2,000. Now, yes, next year maybe it's going to be $4,000 at the same volume because I wouldn't have spent all this money on equipment. But even then, I don't even want to factor it in because I bet you if I factor in what I made, because now I have the number, the $2,000 mark, and I can look at the taxes again, my paperwork, and really narrow it down to the cent that I made, and then plug in how many hours I worked a day on this business. But I'm afraid it's going to say that I made 50 cents an hour or $1 an hour, or it could even be 10 cents an hour. It could be something as crazy as that because, again, a lot of people getting into this underestimate how much time it takes to buy the cards, sort the cards, ship the cards, list the cards, and do all that stuff. But I hope that this video was a little bit of an eye-opener. It turned more into a rant at the end. But these are things that you have to consider. Again, if you want the actual what to do on your taxes, the video is almost over. So you already know this wasn't the video for you. But if you're still listening, thank you, by the way. But if you're still listening, go to a tax professional. Not every tax person knows how to handle a business like this. They actually had to recommend someone else when I went to go find one. Because my original one just said that she's not familiar with this world, and so she recommended that I went somewhere else, and I went somewhere else, and it turned out great. I'll probably go back next year for her to do my taxes again. Yes, I could do it myself, but I just believe that someone's going to do a better job and keep me on track so I won't forget things. It did cost quite a bit because I have a lot of stuff in my taxes. It's not just this business, it's my other stuff I have in my personal life. So they did charge me $475 to do it. But the last thing she told me too, she was like, "Oh, it's going to be $475," and I paid it. And she's like, "Make sure you remember you paid $475 because you can write that off on your taxes next year."